Hey guys, what's up? These 3 games are coming to the Switch pretty soon, like in a couple of months or even less. You did know that, right? You didn't? And these are great games. These 2 are masterpieces, and this is a game that I think everybody should play. But today is not about those games. Today is about JRPGs that are already on the Switch and you probably didn't know about, and I think you should know about. So let's begin. Number 10. Soul, Nomad and the World Eaters. Less than a year ago, as of the making of this video, a very obscure NIS game was remastered on the Switch. And yes, it does have also a physical release. Phantom Brave was also included. That game had been originally released on the PS2, later ported to the PSP, the Wii and PC. So it was only a matter of time before it would be re-released again, right? Not Soul Nomad. That was truly an unexpected surprise, because it used to be an exclusive on the PS2, a way more obscure strategy RPG than Phantom Brave. You control a silent male or female protagonist in a fight against the almighty World Eaters who have just reawakened after so long. You'll do that with the help of yet another World Eater whose soul is trapped in a sword the protagonist is given. Great story here with tons of great humor. Missions will take place in battlefields where you'll control one or more commanders in charge of small platoons. You can move around in grids and buff your characters before they attack their enemies. You won't be able to control them directly once the battle starts, kinda like in the Ogre Battle series. Your control is on the strategy and the formations you'll have to use to determine which group to fight against who. This is an excellent game and the remaster looks great, although I feel they could have worked better on the sprites. The same cannot be said about Phantom Brave. Sprites look horrible and outdated against the remastered backgrounds, so I think the real star of this release is Soul Nomad. It's only on Switch and Steam for now. Number 9. KoLoon High School Chronicle. This is a remaster of a PS2 game that never came out of Japan. The remaster got a physical release on the Switch in Europe and Japan, digital only for North America. It's also going to be released on the PS4 soon, but only in Japan! For now. KoLoon is an extremely unique dungeon crawler with strong visual novel elements. The story is very interesting about a transfer student in the middle of several paranormal events happening at this high school. There's a lot of reading here, but there's also a lot of decision making. Obviously, your reactions and choices affect your relationships with all characters you meet. Some of them will join you on several investigations during night at the cemetery, where the explorations will take place. It's done in large areas full of many different puzzles. Battles are played in turns, but you can use a variety of projectiles and weapons, although you have to aim at the enemies to attack them. You can have your allies do something to aid you in battle as well. It's hard to describe because it's so original and difficult to compare to any other game I've ever seen. Definitely give this one a try if you're curious. Number 8. Final Fantasy Fables Chocobos Dungeon. Remember that overlooked roguelike RPG on the Wii? Well, it was remastered 3 years ago on the PS4 and of course the Switch. This remaster went under people's radars probably because it only had physical releases in Japan. We did get one Asian version on the Switch with English subtitles if you're interested. The game was retitled as Chocobos Mystery Dungeon Everybody. It's called Everybody because in this version you can now use other characters or even monsters to assist you in battle. Like I said, it's a roguelike RPG, which means you'll take Chocobo through randomly generated dungeons until you reach the button. And battles will be played on turns, you know it. You move, the enemy moves too. You'll traverse several floors until you face a boss, which are usually somewhat challenging. However, it's still a great roguelike RPG for beginners and it's pretty damn good. There's even a job system, so Chocobo can change jobs, and by doing it, the layouts can also change. I'm not the biggest fan of roguelike games, but this is one that I can safely recommend. Number 7. Stranger of Sword City. Remember that dungeon crawler on the PS Vita with multiple art styles? Yeah, you probably don't. It was also released digitally on PC and the Xbox One, but only digitally. You probably didn't know that either. So let's talk about now the fact that it was remastered on the Switch. It's also important to notice that it was released alongside a brand new RPG called Saviors of Sapphire Wings. This dual package is not on PS4 yet, only on Switch and PC. Yep, Switch got a physical release as well. Like I said, it's a first-person dungeon crawler with random battles played in turns. Original version was very hard, but this revisited port included difficulty settings. You can have up to 6 party members in battle, all from different art styles if you want to, cause that's honestly the main appeal of the game. You really need to be into these types of games to fully enjoy it though, as it can be somewhat repetitive and very grindy. I don't know much about Saviors of Sapphire Wings cause I haven't played it, but I can tell you it isn't related story-wise to Sword City, and while being the exact same type of game from the exact same developers, it's also graphically and artistically different. Number 6. Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. This pair was originally released on the PS1 to a commercial success back then. Everyone knows those versions. Well, a few years ago they were remastered in Japan and then we got the DX ports of that on December of 2021. These can be considered as Pokemon clones since they strongly revolve around monster training, but they're also vastly different in terms of gameplay. You don't just capture monsters, instead you summon them by using CDs. That's right, CDs! In the original games, you could use actual CDs as long as they were compatible, including CDs from other video games. In these remasters, you select the CDs from a database that can be customized. There's a lot of depth to this, so I recommend watching a review to understand it better. You'll be training monsters through several short minigames so they can increase the stats and fight in the tournament. Battles are played in real time with no control from the player. All you can do is give them orders or change their attack range. So you see, they're very different from Pokemon, at least in terms of gameplay. No PS4 version so far of this remaster, only on Switch, PC and even mobile, and no physical release whatsoever yet. Number 5. Ni no Kuni II. When the original Ni no Kuni was remastered for the PS4, Switch and PC, everybody wondered if the second game will get the same treatment. When the world had already forgotten about that, it suddenly happened! Just not in the form of a remaster, it was merely a Switch port called the Princess Edition, which included all DLCs. Released on September 17 of 2021, but barely anyone noticed. You probably already know what this game is about. It has little to no relationship with its predecessor, but it also involves a protagonist from the real world transported to the magic world. Battle system is also quite different as it's action now, with complete control of your characters. It also introduced a new real-time strategy system where you need to use small platoons with strengths and weaknesses to fight against other groups of enemies. But overall, it's a fun and charming RPG that you can now play on your Nintendo Switch, just like the first game. Number 4. Mary Skelter Nightmares. Since the small success of the first game on the Vita and Steam, 2 direct sequels were developed, both released on the PS4, Switch and Steam. What most people don't know is that the first game that was originally released on the Vita and Steam was included in the second game, which is also on the Switch like I mentioned. So these are dungeon crawlers in first person with long-ass labyrinths, puzzles and turn-based battles. This is the last time I'll talk about dungeon crawlers in this video, don't worry. To me, one of the biggest highlights that make the repetitive gameplay in these games less tedious is the art style. Dungeons look dark, twisted, kinda Halloween-esque, so it was right up my alley. But they are compiled hard RPGs, so you should expect the usual characteristics in all 3 of them. Yes, you need to play the first game to understand the others as they are direct sequels of it, something I also already mentioned. However, the second game follows an alternative timeline and it changes the events, but that's all I'll say for now to avoid other spoilers. Check these games out if you have a chance and if you like dungeon crawlers. They stand out to me above most of them anyway, and the first game, if it looked good already on the Vita, here it looks even better. Number 3, God Eater 3. The release of God Eater 3 on the Switch came as a surprise, seeing as the first two games weren't on any Nintendo consoles. They were developed by Bandai Namco and a division called Shift. However, this third entry was now developed by Marvelous, and it does feel slightly different in terms of gameplay. The biggest change of all is that instead of being a God Eater fighting in an organization, your customizable character is now a prisoner! Toxic ash that only God Eaters can survive for short periods of time now covers the world, so your character and other prisoners are sent to missions to kill the monsters known as Aragami. Is it related to the previous games? Yes, they're all connected, especially the first two. This one seems to be its own thing, taking place several years after the other two. Now, God Eater 3 has several new features besides carrying over the classic mechanics from the other two games. All three of them play exactly the same, technically speaking, but this one has notoriously better graphics, and the controls, while more polished and refined, feel slightly slower. Still, this is a great game, and if you're already a fan of the other two, I don't think it'll disappoint. And for the record, this Switch port works great despite its inferior resolution to the PS4 version. Number 2, Ys Origin. Alright, this game is everywhere nowadays, even on the Xbox One. I've also covered it to death in this channel, so I'll be quick. Yes, don't worry, the Switch port runs fine, surprisingly at 60 frames per second. Dotemu, the company responsible for all the ports, worked a lot on them to make them work properly, but still had some small issues on them. Not on the Switch. Apparently so, it's a good console to play this excellent game. Some even call it the definitive version to play it. But to be honest, I'm not sure how it stands out above the others besides what I already said. It's the exact same game. In any case, all you need to know is that now you've got even one more platform to play Ys Origin, and you should do it if you like fast-paced action RPGs. Number 1, Valkyria Chronicles. Another game I've covered tirelessly in this channel is the original Valkyria Chronicles, but a lot of people still don't know it's on the Switch. It caused some confusion because the fourth game was a multi-platform release that also included a Switch version, and since not a single previous game in the series had been on any Nintendo console before, it was a welcoming surprise. When they remastered this game on the PS4 after a previous remaster on PC, of course, I guess we all discarded the possibility of it being on the Switch. Well, Sega listened and decided to release the HD enhanced version here, but only digitally. That's right, it only has a physical release on the PS4. Regardless, it's a decent port, and hell, a way to play this game on the go, portable, undocked. Keep in mind the Switch's resolution is 30 fraps, but the game's legendary cel-shaded graphics still look absolutely beautiful. It also comes with all DLCs from the original versions, including that short mission where you play as Selvaria. How cool is that, huh? Anyway, now you know this masterpiece is on the Switch, if at least on a digital format, for now. Alright everybody, now you know these 10 JRPGs are on the Nintendo Switch, and as you saw, some of them are not even on the PS4. But anyway, are there any more JRPGs on the Switch that most people didn't know about? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!